Hey there, horror movie tea sippers.
The following podcast will contain spoilers for the movie we are about to review. If you have not seen the movie and do not wish to have anything ruined prematurely, then please do not continue to listen until after you have seen the movie.
And welcome to the Horror Movie Tea Podcast. And this week we are covering The Wretched, and it's actually a movie still in theaters, so hooray. But before we talk tea and get into the summary, we just want to have a brief disclaimer that this movie does talk about witchcraft, and I just want to recognize that witchcraft and paganism does not equal evil, and that, bad and good people both can have the same religious views. And just wanted to give a little shout out, since a lot of these types of movies do very much demonize witchcraft or paganism, and reality does not reflect that same thing. But anyways.
This is a work of fiction.
Yes.
Very, very much so.
Yes. So, but now that we have that out of the way, so that way we can actually focus on the movie itself. So starting us off on what tea we're drinking, I am drinking the Celestial Seasonings. It's this line called Tea Well, but it's their organic matcha green. But this is how I was like, I've never had this tea before, so I wanted to make sure that I got it right. But it's got all sorts of stuff. It's got green tea, dandelion, elderberry, ginseng. So I'm super excited to try it. This is my first time. How about you?
I'm pretty sure it's from the same brand, but I'm drinking Citrus Sunrise.
Mm.
And it is an herbal tea, so it doesn't actually have true tea leaves.
Yeah.
It is an herbal tea.
I just sipped this, and even though it has matcha, it doesn't have that grassy flavor.
I've kind of noticed that with matcha, it's not as strong as like the tea leaf green tea.
See, I've kind of encountered the opposite. So that's why I was so surprised that I couldn't really tell it had green tea in it. But
well, it does depend on which one you get to.
Yeah. But anyways, moving right along. So the summary of this movie is this kid goes to his dad's house to, I guess, spend the summer there because his parents are separated. And the neighbors, like, he's hearing stuff around the neighbor's lawn, and the neighbors are kind of acting weird, and just strange things start to happen. And we'll get into the nitty-gritty a little bit later, but in summary, it's a witch that is essentially wearing people's skin to, get
It's like a demon mixed with witch mixed with skinwalker. Like it can't decide what it wants to be.
Yeah, but anyway,
but they call it a witch. It's
kidnapping kids to consume them and to stay young or whatever. They don't really explain it. But
she hungers.
Then they burn the tree, which was where the witch's lair was. Like, the witch's lair was underneath the tree. And then there was a twist at the end. And yeah, that's all I'll go into for now. So, how would you rate this for entertainment?
I would give it a 5. It was good. There are some things that just don't make sense, and I feel like they could have done a bit more with the scare factor. Like, they were doing pretty good toward the beginning and middle, and then they kind of just like dropped off until the very end when they go into her lair, and then it was mostly like jump scare, oh god, where is she kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, could have been better. but could have also been a lot worse. And it's not bad considering how long it is. It's only an hour and a half long.
Yeah.
So if you've got just a little bit of time to kill, this is definitely a good one to reach for.
Yeah, I'm gonna rate it a little bit higher. I would probably give it like a 6. It's like I want to give it a 7, but it didn't quite hit it. It's like a 6.5 for me.
Yeah.
But
honestly, I give it a 5 because I'm glad I watched it, but I probably won't really watch it again unless it's like way down the road and I just want to have it on in the background.
yeah, that's a good measure for it. I guess going to the twists, overall, without the twists, the movie wouldn't have been nearly as good. But then with the twists, I don't know, for me at least.
I marked it off a few points for it because they didn't make it make sense. Yes.
Well, see, it's like for me, it was pretty low, but then the twist brought it up. But then whenever I got to think about the inconsistencies, and it brought it somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, that's about how it was. Like, it was all right. And then the twist was like, oh, that's really good. And then looking back on like the things that were supposed to have been the clues and all, that he had a brother the entire time there with them.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, you're reaching. You're reaching. A lot of it is circumstantial. No. There was like one thing in there that they didn't even show in the flashbacks of, oh my god, he was there the entire time, that indicated that there was anyone else there. And that was when Sarah was supposed to have dinner with them and he skipped out to go to a party. When he came back, you see the table is set for 4 and not 3. And 3 of the places had clearly been used, but he was at the party. So I was wondering kind of, who the other person was, but they didn't really talk much about Sarah. They kind of mentioned her and that the dad was seeing her, but they didn't really talk much about her life or anything. So I thought maybe she had a kid or something. And she brought the kid too to eat. But they didn't mention it at all.
Yeah.
So that was my take on it.
Yeah. I lost my train of thought. It's like you're talking as like I know exactly what I'm gonna bring up. And then you stop talking and then my brain's so like whoop. It's not early. Yeah. It's like 1:00, girl. You're like, it's early to me.
It is. I've had little sleep, got up early, went for a run. I'm ready for my nap.
Yeah, I can't blame you on that one.
Yeah, I'm hoping this citrus will wake me up a little bit.
Well, one thing that definitely took away from the movie was the jocks being bullies. It's like they don't even know the kid. Yeah, they purposely were bullying him for no apparent reason.
Yeah, it was somewhat of a hazing thing, somewhat not. They didn't add to the story.
No.
At all.
It was pretty pointless.
At all.
The only thing that did was structure the relationship a little bit better with Valerie. But it didn't necessarily need it. Yeah, they could have done it in a different way. They could have had
I feel like it didn't have any bearing whatsoever, honestly. Well, the only thing that it did was they dared that one girl to get him to skinny dip in the pool. Which she did, and the other chick was ticked at him for doing that. And he had the cute apology of putting a whole bunch of her favorite flavored Starburst in her bag.
But before that, he did get drunk, and they had that moment where they were gonna kiss, and then he threw up.
Yeah, so they honestly could have left out the jock bit and had that be the apology for being gross.
I mean, yeah.
They had no bearing on it whatsoever.
I'm sorry, it's gross. Yeah, no, I agree.
Please don't hate me forever. Here's your favorite Starburst.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it had some unnecessary bits for sure. But overall, it was, I don't know, it definitely had a purpose to where it was going, but it did have quite a few scenes that didn't really stick to the focus of the movie.
Yeah. Speaking of unnecessary scenes, in the very beginning, they have this scene from 35 years ago, apparently. Mm-hmm. None of the characters come back or are mentioned at all.
Yeah.
The house isn't shown again at all. What was the point of that?
To show that they're gonna die, but we're watching a horror movie. We know what's gonna happen.
Well, like, the only thing that I can think of for why they put that in was to show that the flowers die around the thing. And that she can kind of control? Question mark, the husband, father, whoever
I don't know.
The male figure is in the house.
I don't know.
Because he shut the door, locking her in there for her to feed on, so...
Yeah, is true.
That's the only explanation I can come up with there.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it was unnecessary. Because we saw all of that the rest of the movie as well.
Yeah.
It was to pad the running time.
Yeah, really. But it's like, if you're worried about it, the majority of movies have trouble keeping that time frame because they have so many clips. So it's like, if you really need to pad it like that, then you need to add somewhere else where it contributes to the plot.
Yeah.
Like, they could have filled, more of like the twist plot holes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Please. I would love that.
Like, one thing that you mentioned I didn't catch on until after, while we were talking about it, is the neighbor mother threw away the picture of the infant, and the dad never, mentioned the infant. But then the plot twist is that the main character's brother was there, but he was made to forget about him. So it shows a picture that's on the fridge, and earlier in the movie, the little brother is not in that picture, but in the flashback, all of a sudden, he's in the picture. It's like
clearly visible where the dad and son are.
Yeah, so it's like the fact that the neighbor mother threw away the picture indicates that they can't manipulate physical objects, but then all of a sudden at the end of the movie, it's like, oh, they can manipulate physical objects. Surprise! It's like, no, be consistent.
We can make it so that you can't see the kid in this picture. Yeah, no, she was throwing away all of the physical reminders. Now, I take that back. Not all of the physical reminders, because when the neighbor dad looked into the room that was the nursery, not everything had been thrown away, just everything in eyesight. Because you see part of the wall next to him, and there's a dresser with a couple of stuffed bears. So she didn't throw away everything. Just anything that could be in the field of vision when you first open the door.
Yeah.
So he looked into it, saw there was nothing there, and closed the door and left.
Yeah. And another thing to fill in the plot holes is, for those who have seen the movie, before it flashes to the main character, you see a part where he's drowning, and then when it flashes to him, it says 5 days before. Well, kind of our theory is that moment of drowning could be when his memories get manipulated, and so he's actually being drowned, but
his life is kind of flashing before his eyes.
Yeah, so we're remembering...
From that point...
Yeah.
That's the only thing we can think of to make it make some sort of sense.
Yeah.
It's a stretch. We know it's a stretch. But it's the only thing that we can think of that makes half of it make sense, at least.
But
because they just... they don't put the clues in there very well.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the scares for the movie they're hit or miss, but particularly my favorite scare is whenever the mother keeps hearing the baby crying, and then in the monitor you see a dark shadow, and then you see glowing eyes. Oh, that gave me the heebie-jeebies.
Well, honestly, my stomach dropped when she went to go check on the infant, and the screaming, the crying just suddenly stopped.
Yeah.
Out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And she was about to walk away back to her room, and then she's like, no, I'll go ahead and check. And that's when she like looks in the crib and there's just this like bundle covered by a blanket and it's not moving. And that to me is just like, oh God, no, what happened?
Yeah.
And then she takes off the blanket and it's a bunch of six. And then I'm like,
that would be terrifying.
Where did it go?
Yeah.
Because as a mom, that would just be terrifying and devastating.
Yeah.
Not to know where your child is.
Yeah.
That window was open. Also, you're in the woods. Why are your windows open? Especially in the nursery.
Bear might steal your kids.
I don't know about a bear, but there are a lot of animals and all that could get in and wreak havoc on your house. And some of them like could transfer some kind of illness if the kid is bit.
Yeah, or rabies. Rabies is
Yes!
Yeah, don't want rabies.
So, I mean, I just wouldn't take the chance. But I'm also that paranoid person that locks the door when I get home immediately after closing it. So,
But
yeah.
But
that was a good scene.
I know, but you're right though. Like towards as it got closer and closer to the end, it relied more and more on jump scares and spoofs.
Yeah.
But
It was interesting and it was good. They didn't really explain why she was taking some of the kids but eating others then and there.
maybe
They
it
didn't explain a lot.
depends how much she hungers, but
Yeah, they didn't explain a lot.
Yeah. But I don't think I have anything left for the entertainment scale. How about you?
No. Again, I'm glad I watched it, but I probably won't be. This isn't my favorite. I won't really be going back to it. Like I do others.
I might watch it like one more time, but yeah, it's definitely not a classic.
No.
But scooting over to the realism scale, this movie I'm probably going to hit pretty hard. And the reason being is I completely understand the whole fear of witchcraft, especially if you grow up as a Christian. And I at least assume that the majority of these movies are made towards a Christian audience or someone who's very familiar with Christianity. But how evil they made everything for the what like I'm not faulting the movie too much because obviously you have to have some sort of villain in order to have a horror movie. So I'm not faulting it, but so there's this ruin that you see where it's a V with a line in the middle.
I was wondering when he'd bring this up.
And if you're going to do a witchcraft movie, then make some legit witchcraft. So you
guys have to remember that we are giant nerds. And we will check. It will tickle our curiosity bone, and we will check.
We looked for a long time. We asked for input from someone more knowledgeable than us.
7 different language of runes. And I saw none that were like this. We outsourced and asked someone else that was more familiar with runes and things. And he can't find any.
Yeah.
So far.
So you can definitely see. So from what we saw, it didn't appear that it was legit. But there is a possibility that it's in a different language that we couldn't find. But either way, if it is made up, you can see what language that they got the inspiration from. And there's actually a couple of runes that you can see that look very similar. So I'm guessing that's more than likely what they did. If it's a real rune, I would love to know. And if someone can message us and tell us what it means.
That'd be great. We'd appreciate that.
Yeah. But honestly.
But really it was a V with a line through the middle.
Yeah, like, honestly, I would assume it's more than likely made up. But the fact that they took inspiration from actual runes, okay, I can give them that. Yeah, it's like, if they wanted it to mean something
at least
in particular,
if you're gonna make up a rune, though, make it more creative. I mean, that just...
Okay, yeah, I gotta give you that one.
I honestly, like, it would have made more sense if they actually had used the rune for, say, Earth, the one it looks most similar to, because everything he was reading and saying about the witch was that she comes from roots or rot or the earth.
Yeah.
So that would make sense.
Yeah.
But instead they just make one up. Sort of.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know.
It's kind of strange. But the reason why it also scored low for me is how frustrating the dad was. Is that he wouldn't believe the son, and
because both of them were a little frustrating. The neighbor dad and the actual dad.
I was referring to the main character's dad.
But, okay, so Liam.
Yes. So it's like he wasn't listening at all. He was pretty oblivious. I mean, the neighbor dad was super oblivious. Like that dad has no excuse for what happened.
Witchcraft.
But it just drives me. It just drives me nuts when horror movies purposely have oblivious parents just for the convenience of the plot. Because if the parents actually listened to their kids, then the movie would be shorter.
Well, I can kind of see where he was coming from and why he wasn't really listening to the kid. The kid had broken his arm because he had jumped out a second-story window from his neighbor's house, who he broke into to try to steal Vicodin. So I get it. The kid has kind of lost a lot of trust.
Yeah.
But at the same time, why are you not keeping a better eye on your kid?
Yeah.
If you don't trust him that much, why are you not keeping an eye on him at all? And I don't know, there was a lot of communication issues on both sides. But
yeah, especially like the main character, he could have easily texted his dad that he was going to a party, so his dad wouldn't freak out and be like, "Where are you?" But no, he is like, "I'm not going to text." Like, knowing that the kid had a drug problem, I can understand why he didn't. Because if he's like, "Oh, I'm going to go to a party," but he didn't even have to say, "I'm going to a party." He could say, "Oh, I'm hanging out with Valerie because we're getting along and we're trying to be friends." Like, he didn't have to allude to, "Oh, I'm going to a party."
Yeah, no, I was invited to hang out with Mallory and some of her friends, so I'm with them. So yeah, the dad would still be ticked because they were supposed to have dinner with Sarah, the chick that the dad was seeing. But at the same time, at least he knows that he's not dead in a ditch somewhere.
Yeah. Wait, okay, I need to correct something. Is it Mallory or Valerie?
It's Mallory.
Mallory with an
I'm looking at it right now. It's Mallory.
Darn it. I'm sorry, guys. I'm so terrible with names. Like, Jess needs a reference. I was like, no, I don't need a reference. I'm just going to wing it. And this is what happens when you wing it.
That's why I have it pulled up on my screen with all, like, the main characters and their names.
Yeah, I need to do that. Well, I guess I can't, because since we're recording my screen, but I could have printed it out, though. Either way,
you could have printed it out.
I don't have an
written
excuse.
it down.
It's just pure laziness. So.
Yeah, it's all you.
And you guys reap the consequences.
This is fine. This is fine. No. So what overall score are you giving it for realism?
Like a 2. Like I said, there's so many frustrations with different points in the movie that, like, especially like the inconsistency in what the witch's ability was, and yeah, so I'd say a 2.
Yeah, I guess that'd be fairly accurate.
Maybe a 3.
Maybe a 3. Because a lot of their reactions and all are just...
That's true.
Their reactions are okay, but there's just so many inconsistencies. And they don't really say why she's doing what she's doing or the method that she does it. She seems to have, like, various powers that tend to contradict each other and all. Like,
yeah. Like, I would assume it's to live forever, you know. Especially since she eats kids. It's almost like the Elizabeth Bathory, where she bathes in young maiden's blood to look youthful. So, I don't know. I feel like maybe it's inspired from that.
I don't know. I figured it was also kind of an innocence thing. But they don't make any of that clear at all.
Nope.
And then with the awkwardness between the kids I can get. I get that. The awkwardness between the teens. Yeah, accurate. But at the same time, if a guy throws up after almost kissing you, that's probably an auto no.
Yeah.
Despite the cute apology. That's, yeah. Appreciate that, but it's a definite no. And you lost it. So, and the neighbor kid just immediately talks to the neighbor
and it's so
and
strange.
Trusts him and runs into his house.
Yeah, and it's very strange how often the main character went over to the neighbors.
Well, he seemed to kind of have a boundary issue a little bit.
True.
He broke into his previous neighbor's house trying to look for Vicodins, so I mean, not much of a stretch there.
Yeah.
But he was very persistent, like extremely unhealthily persistent.
Yeah, even telling the kid to tell him if anything strange was going on.
Yeah. If you see anything weird, you live in the woods. Like, there are animals. There's gonna be some weird happenings. You're gonna hear stuff on your roof now and then.
Mm-hmm.
There was even a raccoon at one point under the deck, under the porch of the neighbor's house, which he didn't tell them about, by the way. Rude.
You're like, raccoons can be so destructive.
They can be. Little trash pandas are destructive. There's a reason they're considered pests.
I'd keep it as a pet.
Not the best idea.
I know. But it's kind of like ferrets. Like, they're
not, though.
Well, but ferrets, the ferrets like to collect things, and they'll, like, dig into your couch and stuff. So they can be just as destructive. You just have to be careful.
Yeah. I feel like it's on a much larger scale, though, and they're a bit more intelligent than ferrets.
But either way, even though the animal lover in me would love to have a raccoon as a pet, I'm like, no, they belong in the wild. They need to be free.
They are definitely wild animals. They are not domesticated at all, and they need to stay in the wild. They have adapted very well. I will give them that. They are very, very adaptable, and they have figured out how to coincide and even thrive along with humans, or coexist rather, alongside humans and thrive in the environment. Yeah. So,
but our podcast isn't about raccoons.
No, it's about demons and aliens and monsters and things.
Aliens and demons and witches, oh my!
Another reason why I marked it down solo was because they can't decide what it wants to be.
That's
it
true.
Looks like a demon, but they call it a witch, and it seems to be able to control people with spells and things. But it lives in people's skins and eats humans.
So it's kind of like a skinwalker too?
Kind of, a little bit. So, I mean, pick one.
One thing that we should have done that I didn't even think about until now is we should have listened to what she was saying and try and figure out if it was legit, like, I
Run
don't
it through Google
Scandinavian.
Translate.
But
Detect
oh well.
this phrase.
Too late now. But I mean, I would assume it's probably made up, or
Most
they
likely unintelligible.
scrambled a bunch of Scandinavian language, or some sort of ancient sounding language.
Yeah. I mean, their go-to is typically some variation of Latin.
This is true, but that would be pretty inaccurate since pagans don't necessarily.
Yeah, but again, it looked demonic, and that's usually their go-to for any demon or anything.
Yeah, like as demonic as she looked, they were definitely leaning towards the paganism side.
Yeah,
but
that's fair.
I can. Yeah, either way, this movie it was inconsistent, and
Not in the least. It almost, at some points, it almost had a Rear Window kind of vibe. Since he was looking out at the neighbor's house so much. But
that would have been interesting, actually.
it would have been.
Like if
it would have been if it was told mostly from his house.
Yeah.
But I mean, they've done it before with like Disturbia and all. But
if you did
which is also
with
a good movie,
a supernatural being, that would just raise the bar a little bit. Yeah,
it would be kind of cool and interesting. But no, we have to go other places and be inconsistent all the way.
Yeah.
Also, I want to know what's up with the disappearing tree.
Yeah, that is like, can she teleport in the tree? Or is it stuck in one spot and only some people can see it, and that's if she chooses? But then if that was the case, then how would the teenagers at the end be able to see it? Because if I was a witch and I could make my tree disappear, I would just have it gone so that way they couldn't find me and destroy me.
Yeah. Also, why was she feasting on one family at a time when there are kids partying in the woods right near her tree?
This is true. That would have been such easy pickings for her.
There's a buffet!
Yeah. And then the fact that,
And then she makes the rest of the party forget. She's got her takeout.
Yeah. Well, and then the fact that she starts in a deer, the fact that she is so close to a playground and humans, like originally I was thinking, oh, if she's in a deer, that means that she's in a lot more remote of an area, and so she has to feed quite often. She's moving between animals to get her sustenance or whatever. But since she's literally right next to a playground, there's no excuse, and I don't understand why she would be in a deer.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Yeah.
Oh, and then the twist. We didn't talk about the twist. So
trying to forget about the twist.
Minus the brother plot twist. At the very end, they make it seem like everything's hunky dory. The witch is destroyed. Mallory is looking at these flowers, and in the back of my head, I kid you not, I was thinking, those flowers look kind of fake. I wonder if those are fake flowers. And she even puts one in her hair. And I was like, the witch is dead. I'm just going to assume that I'm wrong. But no, the flower was actually fake. And Mallory is actually, we don't know if she's the actual witch or if she's possessed.
They left it open.
Being controlled or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's no reason for that. Like, they didn't give any hint that the witch could have escaped. Mallory was the one helping put salt around the tree, and you see her walk away. Like, there's the only hint is that her sister Lily was like, I don't feel so good. But we know.
Well, I mean, she could have potentially got out. She did break the line of salt when she grabbed a handful of it and threw it in the witch's face.
Fair.
So,
but
she can make a tree disappear. She might be able to make another one. Just magic another one.
Yeah. But so it's like, we don't know if maybe Lily, the sister, was possessed or taken over in some way that then rolled on
if
to
there
Mallory.
Was like an alien thing going on.
Yeah, like, we don't know. And honestly, it was unnecessary. They could have just ended the movie happy. I don't understand why horror movies nowadays feel a need to let it hang off. Like, I understand some situations it's appropriate, but this particular, no.
I know everyone really likes sequels and all, and making sequels, and let's have a franchise and all. But with as many plot holes as this one has, you don't need a sequel.
Yeah.
Don't do the thing.
Yeah, it's frustrating, honestly. I wish movies or directors or movie industry, whatever, would focus more on let's make a good movie rather than let's make a movie that we can make money off of that can go into a franchise or whatever. It's so frustrating because honestly, I feel like if they did make good movies, they would make their money back.
Mm-hmm. Well, and it could naturally spawn other movies later on down the road.
Yeah, it's like...
But have a good, solid foundation first.
Exactly. Because it's diminishing returns at that point.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But, yeah. So that's our thoughts.
It's better than a lot of the newer movies that we've seen recently, though.
Yeah, it's not a bad movie, but the flaws in it really reveals the flaws of the movie industry right now.
It is definitely more of a one and done. Definitely not going to be an instant fan favorite. I feel like they could have done a lot more with it.
Yeah, but well, I guess one thing that we didn't touch on, and it's going to probably run us a little bit long, but hey, whatever. If you were in this scenario, would you do anything differently? I feel like the main character, for the most part, was pretty competent. So I probably wouldn't do a whole lot of things differently.
I mean, the people weren't listening to him, which is understandable given his background. But if you're going to break in anyway, looking for evidence and all, why not bring a camera? Or your phone?
That was the one thing that did frustrate me, is he literally, I don't know if it was an iPhone, but you could see the camera. So he had an up-to-date phone. He could have easily filmed it or recorded the conversations or what have you. Yeah, there was no excuse for that.
Yeah. That was the main thing.
Yeah.
That was the main thing.
Agreed.
Also, I would have been carrying salt with me everywhere.
Yep. I probably would have worn a sage necklace that's constantly slowly burning in like a little apparatus. I don't know. Are you a witch? Are you? or just like carry a bouquet and then
If you wash things in salt water, does some of the salt remain? And if so, will enough of it remain on, say, silverware?
Oh.
For dinner guests to touch and be affected by?
I don't know. That's interesting.
Asking for a friend.
Yeah, okay. Sorry, this just brought on a whole new conversation.
Oh, God.
So if salt is bad...
I didn't mean to.
For paranormal beings, does that mean that if ocean water touches them, that they'll, like, burn or something? Like, I need to know.
It is still salt. It is technically still the same substance. It is the same chemical makeup and everything.
So if you're possessed by a demon, can you just, like, dump yourself in the ocean and then you're good?
Go swimming. Or saltwater pools.
Yeah.
Those are becoming more popular.
Oh my God, I need to know now.
You just have a squirt guy.
Salt water, just... You'll be blessed. And, you could make it a twofer. You can use blessed, like holy water, and then mix it with salt, and then put in a spray bottle, and then just like spritz everyone that you pass.
So I want to know if it's the concentration of salt, because if it is in water, does that mean it's no longer effective? Because salt, I mean, it doesn't dissolve quite as well as sugar, but it does dissolve.
Yeah.
So is it too dissolved and is no longer concentrated enough to work? Or does that make it more effective?
Now we're asking the real questions now. That's what I will need answers. Oh my goodness. Maybe we can find like a demonologist and be like, hey, we have some questions.
Out of curiosity.
If I was possessed and I just like nosedived into the ocean, would I be good?
Just gargle with some salt water.
I mean, to be fair, you never hear about sharks being possessed. I mean, that's gotta mean something.
Strong argument could be made for Jaws' revenge.
It's a movie.
So is this.
No, well, okay, I know. But I'm meaning for realsies. Like if people believe that salt water will help with demon possession, I don't know. But
Well, I mean, there have been other movies where water washes away a ring of salt for protection. So, does it render ineffective?
oh no. Find out next week at I don't know.
We have no idea, guys.
But
let us know your thoughts. Would it still work if the salt was dissolved? Or would it be rendered ineffective and just you're spraying them with water and about to die? Like, let us know in the comments. Send us some messages. Also, if you have any other ideas of any other movies you want us to watch and review with our tea and judgment, then please let us know.
oh, talking about the ocean. Da 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 da. Sorry, very appropriate.
Cool. So, also, guys, we are starting on some book reviews as well. The first one, we're going to do about a book a month. The first one is The Scavenger Hunt by, I forget who.
It's like Michael Collins Bent Michael Bent Collins.
Bent Collins, I think. I'm going to look it up. I have it right here. Give me a second.
But if you guys have a Kindle, it is free to download for their borrowers library, or if you have Kindle Unlimited, that's $10 a month.
Michael Brent Collins.
Okay. Thank you. So, yeah, so Jess, she has Kindle Unlimited. That's how she's accessing the book. And I just so happen to have a Kindle, which is how I'm accessing it for free without having to buy Kindle Unlimited. So for those who happen to have a Kindle, I can't imagine it working on the Kindle app. But I mean, it wouldn't hurt to try.
It wouldn't hurt to try.
So, but I hope you guys read it along with us, so that way whenever we do our live video, we can get your feedback and see your thoughts. And yeah, I'm excited. Change things up a little bit.
Yes, and we are talking about doing a live event for that review.
Yes.
So we'll let you guys know about the time and the exact date and all once we get it nailed down. But it will be a live event, so join us on YouTube.
Yep.
And we'll be able to see your comments and all at the same time live.
Yes. So.
So I don't have anything else, do you?
Nope. I'm hunky-dory.
All right. Well, I need a nap and I'm also starving, so we're going to get off of here. And until the next time, guys, y'all stay safe and stay spoopy.
Bye.
Bye.